What's up, everybody? Life's Apprentice. This is going to be like part 2 of the window install. I'm solo today. Chelsea had a big mulch job, so she ended up taking my guys. So I decided, just so I can be closer to the kids and everything like that, and basically be home all day, that I went and measured the windows on spot, and I'm going to bend them here in the barn. So I have my brake set up here. I have my metal set up here on carpet so that it doesn't get scratched, and I'm going to cut these out, mark them out, and then I'll show you how we bend them. It gets a little complicated showing how to measure windows, so I don't know. I can always make another video about this. If you guys want to see it, or somebody wants to see it, I guess let me know if you want to see how I measure windows. I will be installing these tomorrow, so I will show you. I mean, here's my drawing right here. Most of the windows were consistent and pretty much the same. That's why you have these right here, is because my dimensions are all the same as the other ones. Lengths are just a little bit different depending on the window. But so I guess tomorrow I'll explain to you how and why I made these pieces the sizes and the way that I did when I'm actually installing them. So we're going to get to bending here. And nice controlled environment. I'm out of the sun at home, so this is what I decided to do. It's a little bit slower this way, but hauling around the brake and everything by myself is kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm just going to bend them here and transport them and install them tomorrow. Well, there you have it. We got pieces here and here and here. And it doesn't look like much, but I mean, it's pretty time consuming bending these flashings and just making sure everything's right. But everything's bent up. I got some other things I got to go finish up today. So tomorrow I'm going to go wrap these. I'm going to be solo again tomorrow. Not that I don't really need help with window flashings, but I'm going to go get these all installed tomorrow, and I will see you then the next day. And it's actually my last window I got to wrap here, but there's some road construction going on next door, and the neighbor was cutting grass. It seems like every time you want to film, there's always something going on. So I have these pieces bent up. This piece is our sill piece, and it's going to slide up underneath here, and then we have a extension here that gets clicked on. I'll show you that in a little bit. But first step here, I never use a tape measure when I am doing window flashings. It just seems to complicate things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my piece up. I'm going to leave a 3/8 here, and I'm going to do a 3/8 tab. I'm going to mark right here. That's where that piece is going to go in, and I'm going to do the same on this side. So I have my piece marked. One thing we're going to have to take into consideration is these, where there's like a 1/4 inch to nothing, and the same on this side. So we're going to go over to my truck. This 3/8 is going to be a tab that I'm going to fold around, and then this is where it's going to set inside the window. And I am going to give myself a mark here and a mark here. So you can see how I did that. Like it's going to be, 1/4 inch to nothing. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And this takes a little bit of practice. I've done this basically my entire adult life, so this is pretty easy for me at these. Another thing, I have a red and a green snip. This is really important. I see a lot of people who do metal work, they don't have both, or they don't exactly know how and when and why to use them. So we're going to have another 3" or 3/8" inch tab here. So I'm going to cut that. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'm just going to cut this off. This is extra. Cut that. Cut that. It's kind of hard to explain this to people who've never done it before. You almost have to be here and see it to understand. So I'm going to do my best here. So I have that piece cut out, and then this here is just going to be a little tab. So I'm just going to fold that around. And this isn't always necessary, it really depends on the window. We're going to do the same thing on this side. If you guys can hear that road construction, I'm sorry. Okay, so there's our piece. I'll show you up close here in a second. I'm solo, so I can't really film and install it at the same time. Put a nail here. And I'm going to put a nail here. So here you can see this is tight here. This is pretty tight. We have a little bit of a wrap here. I have a 3/8 inch on my side pieces. There's no trim here, so there's no really anywhere I can tuck it in. So this is kind of just a weird spot. But eventually when somebody resides this house, they're going to want this on that side. And I'll show you how the sides look too. You can see this side, just the same. Now, this piece goes underneath here, and I have a piece that covers this. I'll show you that. That came with the window. Show you that when I'm done. But these sides, I was telling you yesterday when I bent them, I always install into this groove right here. Helps hold your metal and keeps it nice and tight. So these next side pieces, I'm going to get up and I am going to put them on and mark them and get those cut. Here, and I'm marking it here. And I'm marking it right here. That's really the only marks I need. I'll show you what we do with those. Our marks. This is the top mark. We're going to square this, and that's going to get cut off straight. Now this is the bottom mark, and this is excess, but that bottom is, that sill is slanted. So we have to cut this return on an angle. So I marked it straight, but we aren't going to want to cut it straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about a 1/2 inch up. I'm going to cut it on an angle. You see that? That allows for the pitch of the sill. And we're just going to cut this straight off. Now this one, we're going to cut straight. We're not going to cut it all the way off, we're just going to cut this part off. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. These pieces are essentially the same, they're just opposite sides, so they're opposite of each other. Again, we're going to cut this one on an angle, about a 1/2 inch. I'll show you why in a second, if you didn't catch it. And these pieces are ready to install. They're just going to slide right into this little groove here to help hold them. We're going to put some thumbnails in here. Put one more on the bottom. That top one's going to get covered up so you won't even see it. And we're going to do the other side just the same. So I'm putting the nails out on this edge because the wood kind of tapers in right here. So I'm putting them out on this edge. These are the only two that'll show. That one will get covered up. But you can see this metal is slid into that groove nice. You can see the angle on this. So I cut this a 1/2 inch out of square and it's nice and tight. You can see on both sides. So really all we have left now is to get that top. Pretty nice though. I like this kind of weather. It's better than it has been when it was 90 and all that. Yeah, that's what I heard. This is our last piece, top piece. Again, no tape measure. I find it a lot easier with no tape measure. I think it's a lot easier to make a mistake with a tape measure than when you're actually holding it up there. If you mark in the right spot, it's almost always going to be right. So this one is a little long, so we're cutting it down. And then cut this off. And here's where we need to be careful and make sure we're using the right snip. We want to use this snip because we don't want to cut this corner off. We want to cut right along the edge of it. I'll show you in a second what I mean. Can you guys see how I left a little bit of that 90-degree bend on there? That's just going to make it, the finish look a lot better. If we leave a little bit of that on there. If you cut it on the other side with the wrong snip, it's going to get wavy on you. I'm going to do the same here, but we need a different snip. We need the red one this time. I'm just going to cut right along that bend. I almost never 45 my miters. Almost never. I shouldn't say I never do, but very, very rarely. See some up here, you might just be looking at my butt. But this slips up underneath the socket J. That's what's going to hold that tight. Pretty close to it. How well you guys can see. This is hard to do by yourself. Yeah, I'll have to show you in a second. have it. You can see I put the nail here. These will stay exposed, but you can see how nice that looks. Just a good clean finish. Now we need to caulk it, and then we need to get this bottom piece on. Basically the last step is this piece, and I'm pretty sure most replacement windows are going to come with these of some sort, and this we just got to cut down a little bit. And snap it in and caulk it. So you can see this little groove right here just snaps into this. So you just put it in there and make sure it's centered, and you can snap it in with your fingers. And then if it doesn't fall in, I usually just take the end of my hammer and snap that in. There it is. Nice bead. I don't touch it. I've gotten pretty good at caulking over the years. I don't touch it or mess with it. And then you can see how this side is finished off, which is kind of weird, but I'm not going to sit and notch around all these and caulk it. There really should be J-channel along this, and in most cases there is, and that allows you to slip it in and it go unseen, but that's the way these are going to finish. So that is essentially it. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.